Excuse me, sir, is this the Delta House?
Sure. Come on in.
They have cold beer and action on the game.
I'm shocked to find that gambling is going on in here.
It's time for the Degenerates Next Door.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Listen, you have a lot of options in the sports betting game, right? You've got folks online, folks on television. But I believe it was the fine folks at Globo Gym in the movie Dodgeball who said, and I quote, "We're better than you, and we know it. We are the Degenerates Next Door. I'm Jason Hammer, and the human flamethrower of NFL picks immediately to my left is Rob Kendall. Rob, how are you?
I'm great. 4-1 again last week. What would that make us? That'd make 9, 13. What is that? I don't even know how many in the row I've gotten right, but I'm winning a whole. I think I'm 19-11 on the year now. Boy, that's pretty darn good.
That is solid. Now, again, you're not somebody to toot your own horn, but a couple weeks ago, you had a 5-0 NFL Sunday.
That's right.
Last week, 4-1. So, again, not one to toot your own horn, but...
So what would that be? That'd be like 13-2 the last public school math, 13-2 the last 3 weeks. That's pretty good.
You have been on fire. This show, everybody's been doing well.
Yeah.
I am on a generational college football run, which, again, if you believe in the gambling gods, just me saying that means I'm going to go 0-5 this Saturday.
You're done.
But we're rolling, man. So, with that being said, we have got a big slate of NFL action coming up for you. Rob Kendall is Mr. Monday Night. He'll pick that game coming up. We've got a lot of Sunday action. But first and foremost, we have got action tonight.
I want action tonight. Satisfaction all night.
So the last couple of weeks, it feels like we've been spoiled, right? We've had decent matchups, teams you actually want to see play, players that you want to see play. But this week, what did we do to deserve this? We work hard, Rob. We take care of our wives and our kids. We go to work. We pay our bills. And our reward tonight is Bo Nix against Spencer Rattler.
Oh, that was the grossest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I mean, I get they all can't be 10s on Thursday night, but two rookie quarterbacks, a lot of injuries. It is what it is. So let's look at this objectively. Right now, you're seeing the Broncos, at the time of this podcast, a 2.5 to 3-point favorite. Again, we say this all the time. Treat sports betting like it's Black Friday shopping.
Yeah.
Shop around, get the best deal, find the number that suits you best. Let's go with 2.5. I don't like 2.5 with the Broncos. The over-under is 37. Rookie quarterbacks, banged-up defenses. I don't like that total. So what I do like is a team total. And we have been writing team totals out for the last couple of weeks. Because, listen, you don't have to take the numbers Las Vegas gives you. You can find alternative ways to beat the house. So we are going to continue this little heater of team totals with the Denver Broncos tonight. Team total is 19.5. That's their projected number. Now, the Broncos have hit that 4 out of the last 6 games, and they only put up 16 last weekend, but that was against one of the best defenses in the league coming off of a bye and the Chargers. So if you look at some of the teams the Broncos have put up decent numbers against, some of those defenses, I think they'll be similar to what you're going to see tonight. The Broncos scored 34 against the Raiders, 26 against the Bucs. And then Bo Nix's first ever NFL game put up 20 at Seattle. So I think 19.5 is a workable number. And if the Broncos offense doesn't move the needle for you, how about the Saints offense helping the Broncos offense? Because I think Spencer Rattler is going to throw it to the Denver Broncos a couple times tonight. I think you're going to see a lot of 3-and-outs. He only had one good quarter last week, and that was aided by a couple of Baker Mayfield interceptions. I think the Broncos will have opportunities to score. They're going to have the football. I like Denver to get over 19.5 points tonight. We're going to continue this little heater on Thursday night team totals.
You never walk away from the table when you're on a heater.
Now, if you're into prop bets, remind everybody how we did last week, Rob.
You made a boatload of cash, Jason Allen Hammer.
Perfect. We were perfect on prop bets last weekend. We swept Thursday, we swept the weekend, and we've got 2 tonight. All right, Spencer Rattler over 28.5 attempts. Okay, I'm somebody that thinks Denver will play with the lead, and if Denver's smart, they load up the front, they shut down the run, and they try to make Spencer Rattler beat them through the air. So if the Saints' running game gets shut down, and that's a little teaser for what's coming next, that means the Saints are going to have to throw. Last week, Spencer Rattler threw the ball 40 times. He completed 22 of those passes. A lot of them dink and dunks, but we just need the attempts. So we are going to go over 28.5 passing attempts for Spencer Rattler tonight. And Alvin Kamara, Saints running back, under 68.5 rushing yards. Last week, 13 carries, just 40 yards. Buccaneers did the same thing. We're going to see if Spencer Rattler can beat us through the air. We're going to shut down the running attack. You might see Kamara out of the backfield, but I don't think you're going to see anywhere near this number tonight. Under 68.5 rushing yards. Those are your plays for tonight.
Can I just say how much I love the effort you put in to making these picks? It's amazing how much this show is like our day job radio shows. We both have #1 shows in the city of Indianapolis. In my day job, my partner, Casey, she does all the work. I just show up and say, what are we doing? Oh, we're talking about this. Let's roll. Same thing with your show. Your partner doesn't even show up half the time. You put all the time and effort into it. And the sports betting show is the same way. Your facts, your figures, they're amazing. And then there's me. Who's playing on Sunday night? Okay, I'll go with them.
Flipping a coin. A big game that you've got action on is the Lions at the Vikings. The Vikings are a 1.5 point home favorite against Detroit. The over-under sitting right around 50.5.
Okay, 3 things. 1, Vikings are fire at home. Their home field advantage is real. 2, their offense has been great, and the Lions defense is not all that good, even before that horrible injury to Hutchinson on Sunday at the Cowboys. And 3, the Vikings have been good to me this year. So you know me, Hammer. I am a loyal dude. I'm riding Minnesota. The Vikings have covered each of their last 5 and are coming off a bye. The Vikings have the 6th best ranked defense in the league and the 3rd ranked offense. Public was impressed by the Lions' domination of the Cowboys, but the Cowboys stink. I'm in on the Vikings.
And a lot of people are picking the Lions as the underdog here. But keep in mind, as much as those underdogs were hitting earlier in the year, the last 2 weeks, NFL dogs, 7, 20, and 1 against the spread the last 2 weeks. So what do we always say about water?
Level.
Finds its level.
That's right.
Water finds its level. All those underdogs that were cashing tickets earlier in the year, it's coming back to reality now. 7, 20, and 1 against the spread the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, Hammer, I really like the Vikings in this spot.
And joining us now is our pro handicapper for the Degenerates Next Door podcast, Kenny Britt of KB Sports. If you are a subscriber of Kenny's, you're probably listening to this podcast on a yacht, maybe living in a castle, because that's how much damn money you've been winning. KB, what's up, brother?
Well, we're doing pretty good. I'm just trying to keep pace with you, actually, Jason. I want to congratulate you, man. If you haven't heard yet, Jason went 5-0 in college football last weekend, 16-4 in his last 20, which is just epic. He went 5-0 in his prop bets, and he went 3-2 on his sides and totals in the NFL. So I'm just trying to keep up with you, my man.
Well, thank you very much. As a matter of fact, I put out this statement because I've had media knocking down my door, Kenny. People have been outside of my house like paparazzi. And this is the blanket statement that I'd like to issue to everyone listening right now.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
That's it. That's the statement.
Exactly. When you get on a roll like this, a heater, you get to take your family to beach resorts and Alabama, Tennessee football games.
Right.
That's how big this is.
And the thing is, Kenny, it makes me a little uncomfortable because I know how this works. I'm probably a week away from going 0-5, 0-13, and having mafia guys at my front door wanting to put me in a trunk.
That's why you got to ride it while it's hot. You got to strike it while the iron's hot, man. You got to keep talking about yourself because these runs are epic. Totally
what do you got
epic.
for us this week, my man?
All right, buddy. I want to talk about Dallas real quick. Last week I gave my third straight winner on Detroit -3, and I said on the podcast, I said, Detroit's probably going to go in there and give them an ass whipping. They were so bored with this game, Detroit was, after the third quarter. They were doing laterals, hooking ladders to their offensive linemen. They were letting the linemen run routes. This was an embarrassment. And, these NFL coaches, they have these post-game news conferences where they're supposed to be politically correct. They're supposed to, not hurt anybody's feelings or be mean or anything like that. Well, after the post-game news conference, here is Mike McCarthy in the hallway when a couple of reporters caught him, and here's what he thought about the game.
Well, what happened was that second game, we got our ass kicked. In the second half, we just got our ass totally kicked. We couldn't do diddly poo offensively. Yes. We couldn't make a first down. We couldn't run the ball. We didn't try to run the ball. We couldn't complete a pass. We sucked. The second half, we sucked. We couldn't stop the run. Every time they got the ball, they went down and got points. We got our ass totally kicked in the second half. That's what it boiled down to. It was a horse performance in the second half. Horse.
Listen, I know everybody wants to talk about playoffs with Jim Mora. Pound for pound, that's his best rant of all time.
I think so. It's classic. It's timeless. It never gets old, and it's great. It's amazing. You got to respect the guy. He tells what he thinks, and coaches aren't really allowed to do that anymore in this day and age.
So, what kind of pick do we have this week?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the marquee game this week, Kansas City at San Fran. Kansas City's 5-0. They've got Mahomes and Andy Reid. That's all you need to know about them. However, something just seems off to me with Kansas City. They're not winning big. They're not playing. They're not really playing very good teams besides Baltimore, and they're really with a couple of pass interference calls that went with Kansas City. They could be 3-2. Pacheco's out, Rice is out, and something just feels off to me with Kansas City. I know San Francisco, I know they got, McCaffrey still out and Mason's banged up a little bit, but they've still got a lot of talent with their wide receivers, George Kittle, et cetera. And I like San Francisco a lot this weekend. They're only -1.5. They're notoriously a slow-starting team in the season. They kind of put it together last week against Seattle on the road. They won by double digits, and Seattle's a pretty decent team. I think this could be just another marquee game that's a good old-fashioned ass-whipping. I think San Francisco's going to lay it to them. I really do.
And if somebody wants to become a subscriber of yours, how do they do that?
Everything is on KB Sports on Facebook. I am 20 games over 500, 46-26.
Let's go.
60, yeah, thank you. 64% on the year. And I also, on my Facebook page, I give out free prop plays where I am 15-5 so far on the year on my free prop plays.
Kenny Britt, KB Sports. He's a big, hairy American winning machine. KB, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Yeah, again, I never know who our professionals are going to pick. So I got the same pick as Kenny. I am riding the coattails of our professional, Kenny Britt of KB Sports. I like the Niners in this spot. 1.5, that's the number I'm seeing right now, over under 47. And between now and Sunday, all you're going to hear about is Patrick Mahomes as an underdog. 12-1-1 against the spread. Andy Reid after a bye. Trust me, I get it. It's hard to pick against Patrick Mahomes, but Mahomes hasn't really been that sharp. If you've watched the Chiefs this year, Patrick Mahomes has just as many interceptions as Dak Prescott with less passing yards and less touchdown passes. But he's got a decent offensive line and a good running game, so the Chiefs are 5-0. But The Chiefs are not going to finish the season unbeaten. They're going to lose along the way, and this is just one of those spots. San Francisco, rematch of the Super Bowl. It's a much bigger game, I think, for San Francisco than it is Kansas City. It means more to them. Give me the 49ers in this spot, laying 1.5. All right, Rob.
Yes.
The Dolphins are on the road taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Now, last week when we were doing this podcast, again, we do this around noon on Thursday, it looked like Anthony Richardson was going to start against the Titans, but that wasn't the case. Turned out that it was Joe Flacco. Last minute, old man Joe comes in and played good enough for the Colts to get a road divisional win. This week, again, Anthony Richardson looks like he's going to be the guy. A banged-up Colts team laying 3 to 3.5, depending on where you shop against the Dolphins. The over-under is 43.5.
Yeah, I really think I'm getting screwed here, and I think this is going to be the last week I take the Colts. You got to take something hard to pick next week, because the problem is our morning show here in Indianapolis.
I'm sorry, was Bo Nix against Spencer Rattler not hard enough for you, Rob?
The Colts are just, it's just impossible because Richardson is so bad, I never know if he's going to play or not. All right, so the reason is our morning show here in Indianapolis, the Tony Katz morning show, he lets us on Fridays, and he demands we pick the Colts game because that's what he wants to talk about. That makes sense.
Which, if you have a radio show in your market and you want us to come on and just screw around and pick your team's game, we'll totally do it.
Absolutely. Get in touch with us. We'd love to do that. So one of us has to take the Colts each week. I apparently love promoting this show more than you do, so I always take the Colts. And I stink at the Colts. If I didn't have to pick the Colts, I might be undefeated this year, Hammer. I'm 19-11. I might be undefeated if I didn't take the Colts. But I got to do something. So every fiber of my being says this is a trap game. But since I got to go on Cat Show and make a pick, the Colts have Richardson back, which is going to hurt them. That means they won't be nearly as good. And they're probably maybe going to have to play without Taylor. Do we know yet? Is Taylor in? Is he out? It's back and forth, up and down.
The final practice decision will be made on Friday.
Oh, that really helps me, taping on Thursday.
We got a show on Thursday.
Yeah, come on, Shane Steichen. Here's the thing I know. Miami stinks. They're horrible. They've scored get these numbers, Hammer. They've scored 15, 12, 3, and 10 their last 4 games. Surely the Colts can cover that by 3, right? Something isn't right about this, but I'll take somebody. I got to take somebody. I'll take the Colts minus 3 points.
Rob Kendall taking the Colts, laying the points against the Dolphins. We are going to take a quick timeout here. When we come back, we got a lot more picks to get to, and we'll take a trip down memory lane. Who remembers the 80s when NFL teams put out videos, music videos? There were dances. There were thrusting. It was a glorious time in America. We'll talk about that when we come back. We are the Degenerates Next Door. Back on the Degenerates Next Door, I'm Jason Hammer. Rob Kendall is here. And if you like fan bases that have a lot of felonies, you're going to love the Eagles at the Giants. The Eagles are a 3-point road favorite. The over-under set at 43.5, Rob.
Oh, that's so good. Look, I'm probably underthinking this, but the Giants have only scored 1 touchdown at home this year. I get that the Eagles are the Eagles of old. The Giants have gone under 43.5 in 5 of their 6 games. The Eagles have gone under 43.5 at 3 of 5. Some things seem too obvious. Could be wrong on this, but I'll go under 43.5.
All right, I will pivot and move out west. The Raiders at the Rams. The Rams are a 6.5-point home favorite. The over-under sitting at 43. Now, again, we record this Thursday at noon, and the last time I heard, Sean McVay of the Rams says that wide receiver Cooper Kupp is trending in the right direction to play against the Raiders.
Sounds like my radio career. Rob Kendall, trending in the right direction.
After a disastrous month in the ratings, he's finally trending in the right direction. If Cooper Kupp comes back, that's a big deal for this matchup here because the Raiders are not very good.
Yeah, they stink.
The Raiders stink, and they just traded away their only offensive weapon. Nothing says we're waving the white flag on the season like a fire sale just about 6 games into the year. So with that being said, you have to ask yourself this question. Do you want to put your hard-earned money on Aiden O'Connell to outduel Matthew Stafford?
Oh, that's a good point.
Because that's what this comes down to. I don't think I want any part of that, so sign me up for Matthew Stafford. Sign me up for Cooper Kupp. I know the Rams have been a mess this year, but they're better at home than the Raiders by a touchdown. I'll lay the 6.5.
Oh, it's so bold.
6.5 with the Rams over the Raiders.
Oh, that's so bold.
1986 Los Angeles Rams. Cue up the band, baby. We're going to ram it. Nothing weird at all, but a couple grown men in a studio dancing to Ram It. Again, it was a different time back then. I try to tell my kids this, right? I've got a 20-year-old. I've got a 16-year-old. When I was around their age, teams were putting out music videos, and it was a wild time. And the gold standard will always be, Rob, your Chicago Bears and the Super Bowl Shuffle.
You're looking at the Frizz, I'm the rookie. I may be large, but I'm no dumb cookie. You see me hit, you see me run. When I kick and pass, we'll have more fun. I can dance, you will see. The others, they all learn from me. I didn't come here looking for trouble. I just came to do the Super Bowl show.
People don't understand what a huge deal that was.
And how about the Bears being so good that before the Super Bowl, they're like, we're going to make a video telling you how much we're going to win the Super Bowl by. And they went out and did it, Hammer. That's the thing. They could have beat those Patriots by 100 points if they'd have wanted to in that game.
That was nominated for a Grammy in some category.
It's great.
The Grammy for greatest song of all time.
Right up there with that and Chris DeBerg's The Lady in Red.
But they can't all be 10s. And the Raiders tried to put one out called Silver and Black Attack. And I want you to listen because the voice I'm about to play is Marcus Allen, but they put so much auto-tune and processing into his voice, it doesn't even sound like Marcus Allen.
We wear the silver, we wear the black, we never retreat, we always attack. We wear the silver, we wear the black, don't get in our way. We wear the silver, we wear the black, you better listen to what we say.
Narrator, people did not listen to what the Raiders had to say. Steve Berline was dancing in that video.
I can't believe you have a 20-year-old.
Matt Millen was dancing in that video.
I cannot believe you have a 20-year-old.
I do. He's a year away from being able to go out drinking with me legally.
Yeah. I remember when that kid was born.
Yeah. So that's why we need to make some bets and win some money so I can afford to pay for college.
Let's do it.
How about the Jets at the Steelers? The Fighting Aaron Rodgers are a 1.5-point road favorite at the Steelers. The over-under, a very low 38.5.
All right, so I know Sunday night I'm going to text you and go, why did I do this to myself? Because I know I'm getting trapped into this, but I'm just a sucker, and I'm getting suckered into it, and I get it. Okay, everyone's hung up on Rodgers and Devontae Adams. So there is probably too much hype behind the Jets. It's going to be Devontae Adams' first game. He's not going to know the offense. How great could he actually be? He's 32 years old. So I don't think he's going to make a big difference. But two things. One, Rodgers is the most spiteful person imaginable, which is why I took the over on the Monday night game, which did hit, by the way. Against
Mr.
Bills.
Monday night.
Yeah. And so he's going to do everything in his power to score a lot of points now that he got his guy and he got rid of the coach he doesn't like. And two, the Jets kicker missed two easily makeable kicks because of the wind. If he had hit those kicks, they win that game against the Bills on Sunday. The Bills are way better than the Steelers. I know I just did a mental pretzel there to condone this bet, but give me the Jets and Rodgers minus 1.5.
I have no idea what you just said, but anytime you're crapping on a kicker, you've got my full support. You could have just went up there and gave me the recipe on how to make a cake or a cupcake, and I would have no idea. But when you start crapping on kickers, now you're talking my language, my friend.
And when it's 30-0 and the Steelers are leading on Sunday night, I'm going to text you going, why did I do this to myself? Why didn't you stop me?
Let's go to the nation's capital, where everything always runs so smooth. The Panthers at the Commanders. The artist formerly known as the Redskins. 8 is the line right now. It's over a touchdown. Washington, a favorite over Carolina. The over-under, though, 51.5. Now, it feels like this is a little inflated because everybody is jumping on the Jaden Daniels bandwagon here. He's kind of put himself in the MVP discussion as a rookie. But if you've ever watched football, sooner or later, a rookie will have that game where he plays like a rookie, and he struggles, and he misses throws, and I don't know what happens. It happens to every rookie. This number feels a little too high. One, I don't know how much help you're going to get from the Carolina Panthers, so you're asking Washington to do the heavy lifting here. Even if they put 35 on the board, I don't know if we're getting to 51.5. So with that being said, Evanescence, what am I doing? We are going under 51.5. The Carolina Panthers at the Washington Commanders.
I love that bet. The Bears beat the brakes off the Panthers a couple weeks ago, and their offense stinks. I like that bet. That's a good bet.
Oh, man. This is what I look forward to each and every week, and I absolutely mean that, and I'm not lying at all because he's on the phone. The Heartlands comedian Scott Long joins us with the long shot. Scott, how the hell are you?
Not as well as you. You're on fire with your picks. Known you a long time, Hammer.
Yeah, man, this is a generational run. Like Antonio Brown's Twitter account, it's a generational run. But you and I both know, I believe in the juju. I believe in the gambling gods. I feel like if I beat my chest too much here, I'm guaranteeing like an 0-5 NFL slate on Sunday.
Can't argue with any of that. I've been about 500 all year, and I'm looking to go 505. That's where I'm just slowly moving up through the year, and I got one, and it's Sunday morning. It's in jolly old England.
England?
And the English football team, they have many of them. They call it football. The one they don't want to have any credit for is the one that plays NFL football the most there, the Jaguars.
Oh.
The Jags are horrendous, and they're 5.5-point favorites. That's what blows me away. I don't know if you've seen Trevor Lawrence. I don't recognize him. There must be some kind of witness protection that they put him in. It's almost like Face Off. Like they put his face on Mitch Trubisky. That's what I think.
Oh, no.
That is what I think is going on, because why would they be a 5.5-point favorite? Yes, they're playing the Patriots. Yes, they're playing a rookie quarterback, Drake May. Favorites do well in England traditionally. Not now. Not now. I really love the Patriots in this spot, getting 5.5. To me, this is a field goal game, probably either way. And I don't know if people saw, Drake May looked pretty good in his first start with a pretty crappy offensive team with the Patriots. Had 3 touchdowns, ran for 40 yards.
And you've been high on him since the draft.
Yeah, I like him. He reminds me a lot of Andrew Luck, except I think he likes to actually play football.
Right.
That's the difference. But
keep him away from the snowboarding activity, allegedly, and the Patriots will be fine.
His whole family, they're just butt kickers. I mean, his brother was one of the greatest college basketball players in the history of North Carolina. His dad played. It's like they're just a family of athletes who love, and they like the contact. I like the Patriots. I don't like what's going on. I feel like there's 2 teams that are on quit alert probably right now, and that appears to be the Browns and the Jags. They, what is that, quiet quitting? Is that the most disgusting thing I've ever heard? And the way the Raiders are running, they might be third on that list.
So I think with the city of Indianapolis hosting the Royal Rumble, the WWE announced that, based on what you've told me, we need to have the May family, the Gronkowski family, and the Hutchinson family, assuming everybody gets healthy in time, for a big battle royal. Who you got?
I'm going with the Watts.
they're going to come in at the last second.
Yes.
The Watt brothers. And that mom, I remember her from Subway commercials. She looks like she'd kick some butt, too. So, yeah, I'd go with the Watts.
If somebody wants to book you, Scott Long, for their corporate event, a lot of Christmas parties right around the corner, how can they hire you?
Yeah, go to scottcomedy.com. You can find me on Twitter at that same handle. And, hey, college went great for me last week. I'll put my picks up on X, Twitter, whatever we call it. Also, so if you want to check those out, too. There you go.
Scott, you're the best. We appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.
All right, going to take a quick timeout. But when we come back, we've got more plays, free picks. We're going to take a quick trip to the prop shop. We're going to ball on a budget. Mr. Monday Night is here. That is coming up next. We are the Degenerates Next Door. Back on the Degenerates Next Door and Fast and Furious. Not just a movie series, it's how we pass out NFL plays on this show. One right after the other. Let's go to Green Bay. The Texans at the Packers. Green Bay, a 2.5-point home favorite. The over-under, 47.5. Two really good young quarterbacks here. I like both of these guys, C.J. Stroud, Jordan Love. But the Texans' defense, don't love them as much. Houston sitting at 28th in opponent red zone scoring percentage. They're allowing a touchdown on 68.75% of trips inside the red zone. But the Texans on offense this year, the last 3 weeks, 41, 23, 24. The Packers, the last 3 weeks on offense, with Jordan Love coming back, 34, 24, and 31. So this kind of feels like a 27-24 type of game. And if my Beech Grove High School and Ball State University education is correct, that gets us above where we need to be. We're going over 47.5, the Texans against the Packers in Lambeau. Now, we turn our attention to Monday night and the man that is a one-man wolf pack when it comes to Monday Night Football. He is Mr. Monday Nights. Rob Kendall, please keep the winning going. What do we got for Monday night?
All right, so we got Tampa Bay taking on the Ravens. Tampa Bay getting 3.5 points. So the Ravens do this well. They run the ball. The Bucs do well against running the football, only allowing 79 yards a game. The thing the Bucs do well is pass the ball. The thing the Ravens do bad is defend the pass. They're allowing 8.1 yards per pass and a 67% completion rate. They've given up the most passing yards in the league and 11 passing touchdowns. I think this is a case of the public buying Lamar Jackson versus the teams. Give me the Bucs getting 3.5 points.
Mr. Monday Night has spoken. Give that man the Bucs. What we do here at the Degenerates Next Door, we give you multiple ways to beat the bank, right? Sometimes we'll give you a total. Sometimes we'll give you a point spread in the game. Sometimes it's a team total, and every once in a while, it's a player prop bet. And last week, your boy here was 5-0 in prop bets. We are 14 games above 500 in prop bets this year. Rob Kendall, get your credit card ready. We're taking a trip to the prop shop.
I take you to the
prop
shop. I let you lick the lollipop. Go ahead, girl, don't you stop. Keep on going till you hit the
prop. We already gave you Spencer Rattler over 28.5 passing attempts and Alvin Kamara under 68.5 rushing yards for Thursday night. Listen, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Derrick Henry has been an ATM for us the last couple of weeks. The line is 82.5 rushing yards for Derrick Henry. He's gone over this number every single game except for the opener. And his workload has picked up too. So this is the latest line for Derrick Henry. 24 carries, 135 yards. 15 carries, 92 yards. 24 carries, 199 yards. 25 carries, 151 yards. The line is 82.5. We're going to ride the Lightning. We're going to go over that number with Derrick Henry. Jared Goff, over 249.5 passing yards. We're going to go over. He's hit that in 3 of the last 4 games. I do think the Lions are going to have to score some points, and we're going to ride the Lightning. And Jordan Love, over 1.5 passing touchdowns for the Packers. I checked the forecast. It's going to be a beautiful day, sunshine and 74 in Lambeau. And Jordan Love has thrown 2 or more touchdown passes in 10 straight games that he's played the full game. I like that to continue against the Texans, who are allowing 2 passing touchdowns per contest, over 1.5 passing touchdowns for Jordan Love. Now, if you're somebody that's, what did the kids say? A cheap bastard. And you don't have a lot of money. Maybe you don't have a pot to piss in. Relax. Rob Kendall, the cheapest man alive, the king of the $2 bet. He's got a way you can take your little bit of money and make it a large amount of money. We call it ballin' on a budget.
This happens to be a $100 minimum bet table. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at one of our lower stakes tables.
Oh! All right, you cheapskates. It's time for Rob Kendall's Ballin' on a Budget.
Very tight with $1.
All right, cheap ass. What are we doing?
I'm going to keep this short, sweet, and simple. Give me the old 4 p.m. money line special, since all the games I'm betting on are 1 p.m. Monday or Sunday night. And our 4 p.m. games are as follows. The Commanders, minus 405 versus the Panthers. The Rams, minus 310 versus the Raiders. And the 49ers, minus 116 versus the Chiefs. That means you put them all together, plus 207, a $5 bet pays out $10.35.
Double your money.
That's right.
And you got some action in the 4 o'clock window.
That's right.
There we go. All right, let's recap the board here. I am looking at the Denver Broncos. Team total, over 19.5 tonight. I like San Francisco to cover 1.5 against Kansas City. The Rams, if I'm going to play it, I'm going to lay it, minus 6.5 against the Raiders. Under 51.5, Carolina at Washington. And over 47.5, Houston at Green Bay. Those are my game picks. If you want to hear the prop bets, just go back earlier in the show. We lay them all out. Rob, what do you got?
The cojones on you laying that 6.5 in that Rams game. I love you, man.
Let's go.
Awesome. I love that.
It's a total fade on the Raiders. That's all it is.
I love it, man. All right, so Monday Night Affair, I got Tampa Bay getting 3.5 against the Bucs. Sunday afternoon, Colts giving 3 at home against the Dolphins. Sunday Night Affair, the Jets against every fiber of my being laying 1.5 at the Steelers. The Vikings laying 1.5 against the Lions at home. And the Eagles and the Giants were going under 43.5.
Those are our plays. So, good luck, everybody. On behalf of the Heartlands comedian, Scott Long, on behalf of Kenny Britt of KB Sports, you should totally be a subscriber of his. On behalf of Rob Kendall of the Kendall and Casey Show, I'm Jason Hammer. May the odds be ever in your favor. And since I've got action on it, we're going to go home with the Rams of 1986. Grown men in spandex telling each other to ram it. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.